Welcome to the Ripple Effect by the Alliance. We are committed to raising the frequency of our planet. We'll discuss hot topics, share practical tools and sacred frequencies to reveal the magic in your life. Come laugh, cry, and have fun with us.
All right, welcome back everyone to the Ripple Effect podcast with Jana, Stacia, and myself, Sarah. We have another good episode for you. And cue the music, or we'll just sing, right, Anna?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Welcome to the
Hotel California. Stacia's not singing. Okay.
I've had a sinus infection. I'm not singing.
I will
right
cut
now.
that. No, I'm kidding. It was endearing. Okay. Oh yes, that's true. You're getting over your sickness. And after my serenade to Hana for her birthday. Okay. All right.
We should play that for our listeners.
Oh God, no. That's for your ears only.
I saved it.
Channeled my inner Michael Scott. Yes.
It
Okay.
was lovely. I loved it, by the way.
We're starting this off silly, but we do have a good episode. We want to talk about the Hotel California. I feel like we've hinted about this in the past on other episodes. And once again, I'm handing this over to the incredible Hana because this is her baby.
Thank you. Yeah, I made that up actually because
you made it up?
Yeah, of course.
Oh my God, I didn't even know that, Hana. Okay, now don't mind me while I fangirl extra hard here over Hana. Okay.
Yeah, I totally made it up because I started my journey. Well, I think like Lady Gaga, I was born this way. But I really started a serious search, a spiritual search around the age of 28. And when I started, first of all, I had no guidance. It was all like gut feelings and looking for something and reading books and trying to get myself on a spiritual path that was not related to a church or a religion. I was had been turned off by religion many years before. But I was always very deeply, I felt very deeply connected with God. And I also felt that I had almost like an obligation of walking a path that would help me become a person of integrity, a person of morals, a person that I would be proud of in the long run. And so I started trying to learn to meditate. That was my first stint into meditation. It's good job, I'm stubborn. But when you start on this path, or when one starts on this path, challenges arise. And those challenges can be a lot more than we bargained for when we signed up for this journey. And I noticed that once I was on this journey, there was no leaving it. Once you know something, you can't unknow it. And once you set off on this path, you can, I don't think anyone can even do it. Maybe people have, I don't know any. But once you start on this path, you can't go back to the way it used to be. And so I named the spiritual journey the Hotel California, because you can check in anytime you want, but you can never leave. And it's like, that's why when people come to me and say, well, I want to start on this journey, I ask them, are you sure? Many times before I say, okay, you're in, because I know that the going will get rough. It gets tough, it gets rough. You get beat up a lot, and you go through a lot of hardship, that it's almost like a masochistic journey into the knowing of oneself. Unfortunately, I feel like humans have a tendency of only learning when they're suffering and not when we're having fun. You know, we get taught our biggest lessons. And if you, and I always say, like, what I thought was my biggest tragedy was my biggest blessing. And I think it is because of that human nature of learning the hard way. Maybe it's an imprint that we need to change, right? I'm all for changing that and not going through all the suffering. And in order to clear something, not having to relive it all over again. I am completely against talk therapy. You guys all know that, because I feel that what you focus on expands. And if every week you go to a therapist and talk about how bad your week was, then there's very little chance of getting a better week next week. You know, and we touched on it the last episode, what you focus on expands. If you're focusing on all the bad news, well, you're going to get more bad news. And how even our feeds and social media are a reflection of our state of our emotional state, our spiritual state, our state of mind, our state of fitness. Like if you're somebody that's working out, you're going to get all these feeds on people who are doing into sports, doing things. But if you're sedentary, you're not going to get that feed, right? It's all a reflection of who we are being. And sometimes in order to be the person that we know we are, and to really embody that and externalize our inner true self, it's like a diamond. There's a lot of pressure that has to be applied onto this rock for it to become a diamond. And that is the spiritual journey, that pressure that you think is going to break you, but it's actually making you better and brighter and, you know, and stronger.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And it's so true. And I relate so much on my, like, as you're talking, I'm thinking about my own journey. And never once did I think, oh, this is too hard. I got to get out, or I got to go back. Like the idea of it being like, this is Hotel California, you can never leave. It's like, you can never leave, because like, even if things are hard, and even if things are like, you think like, oh my God, like I never knew this, or I'm expanding here, this feels scary, I'm going into the next level, oh my God, what is this feeling? You're trying to shrink and retract. Like I never once was like, yeah, I'm out. Okay, let me out. How do I get the hell out of here? Right. It was like, I knew it was for something more. And it reminds me of like the Matrix. It's like, you can't unsee it. It's like, okay, once you're like out of the Matrix and you're looking, it's like, you can't go back into the Matrix. So it's like, it's no different. It's like, once you're exposed to all this, once you're learning like different mindset techniques and self-care and emotional intelligence and whatever else you're learning, it's like, it's you might have moments where you still struggle, or that you're learning it, or you're learning to integrate things, but it's never where it's going to be undone. Like I feel like it's damn near impossible to undo it. And you might like feel like, oh, okay, I'm going to I think about like, even if I just stopped doing everything I was doing, because there's been times where I don't do it as often, like my instinct now is like to go back to it, or oh, I know I know I need that, or oh, this is probably what I'm pulling away from this because of why. It's like I can look with an outside lens and analyze myself and know what, and diagnose what I need, as opposed to before, where I was just like, I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know what I need. I wouldn't even have been something on my conscious level.
It's like, why is this happening to me?
Right. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. You know, talking about the pressure, and you know, the diamonds created with the pressure, it's like we get confronted by some of these things because there's lessons to them. And when you walk into the hotel, you're essentially saying that I'm looking to do better.
Yeah.
And I'm looking to move better. And things can happen, but you're going to see them in a different light. You're going to see them in a different way. And you're going to realize what it is that maybe kept happening before, what it is that you needed to see so that that situation can now just kind of dissipate and you can move up to that next floor. So that's been just this incredible part of this journey. It's like you said, there's never been a time where I'm checking out. It's like sometimes it sucks. But then I think, well, this doesn't feel that great right at this moment, but it's going to. And I know that I'm okay. And if I'm not feeling like I'm okay, I know that I have people around me that are going to make sure that I'm okay. And that just has made it a little easier on this journey. But yeah, it's just, stepping into your magic is really incredible.
Yeah. And something you just said there made me think, like, because everybody else who's checked in is on the same wavelength, right?
Yeah.
I think that makes a big difference, because the people that we're surrounding ourselves with are all on that, whether they just checked in with you or they're like, hey, I've been here for a while. I'm up here on the penthouse or whatever at the top floor. Like,
right.
You're all in that same state of mind, right? Yeah.
Yes. Right.
And you begin to make your choices better. But I have to tell you that when I made up this term, I wanted to check out. I was like, what the hell did I get myself into?
Like abort.
I was like, I don't know what I was thinking when I got into this, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is so painful. And it happened right around the time when I did that Toltec journey, the Toltec way, where I had to relive all the painful moments in my life from the first moment I could remember. And I tortured myself for an entire year. Because there are also some spiritual practices that you can grow out of. And I'm sure that there's a lot of who I've become that was a consequence of me taking myself and putting myself through that journey. However, I, call it my opium dreams. I always keep thinking that there's an easier way. And then I wonder, and maybe you guys can help me with this, because, and I'm going to bring something totally unrelated to this conversation. It's going to take a twist that you guys were not expecting, and neither was I. But when you go into a relationship and you really like that person, and then you start to be available all the time, and you start to, call and be nice and everything, and how quickly they get bored and dump you.
Oh.
So I'm wondering if, because we're like that and we like the chase, does that mean we always have to suffer in order to stick it out on this path? Because if it becomes too easy, will we grow the same way? Because are we simply not wired this way? Because I tend to believe that, like, for me, I like things easy. I like things fun, and the suffering part, I can just skip it all together. Thank you very much. And I'd be so happy. But I would also,
the suffering though, like I noticed that early in the journey, it can really not feel the best. But now things will happen and they can hurt really bad. But the way that I can process it is so much better. It's so much, it just doesn't feel like I'm suffering. It feels like I'm just, okay, I felt these emotions and it's okay. And I'm okay. And so where am I going from here? You
Yes,
know,
you go over
agree.
like a hump part.
yeah,
I
Yeah, right
agree.
now, even the things that maybe a year ago would like destroy me, now I'm like, huh,
Yes,
you know,
I agree.
and I know people hate that saying it is what it is, but it starts to become almost like that of like, well, this is what it is. This is what's happening. How am I going to respond? Instead of before, it would be a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have a more self domination or self controlling and self we deal better with our emotions. We know how to let them through instead of trapping them in. Like
Mhm.
we're not doing the same things we were doing before when we were blindly going through this at
No.
all.
No.
It is a very conscious choice and decision, and we know how impactful decisions are, and we're every day we're making different decisions that are shaping our life, and we know if it starts going in a way that we are not happy with, we quickly redirect
Exactly. And yeah.
because we're becoming masters at it after all this work.
Yeah.
Right, but there's a lot of stuff that I went through in terms of suffering in my journey that you guys have been able to skip.
right.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Because when you mentioned like you did want to check out initially, I was like, and then we're both like, hey, we didn't want to check out. It's like because you like established that, right? And created this safe space for us and be like, hey, no, like you can skip this part or you can jump here or do this, right? And that's why I
Right.
think it's so important, like who we're surrounding ourselves with,
Exactly.
because that I agree, like same thing, Stacia, for me. It's like when it's again, it's not that I don't think we need to suffer in order to grow or anything like that. But the stuff that does happen, it's how we're responding to it and the tools that we're using so that it's like, hey, I know I'm going to be okay. Where before I'd be like, oh, what's going to happen? Oh my God, this is the worst thing ever. And now it's like, okay, this fucking sucks, but I know I can get through it because of whoever the people I'm with, the tools that I'm using, the space that I'm going to give myself, the action that I'm going to take, like whatever is my method, I know I can get through it. It doesn't mean it's not going to suck, but it also doesn't mean that you have to have something shitty happen to grow. Like I've grown lots from positive experience over the last couple of years too, right? So
Right,
it's all
and does that mean that
tell.
yes,
Sometimes it's a party,
yeah,
and sometimes it's a, I don't know, funeral or something. I don't know how to explain it.
yeah, yeah, it's challenging, but it doesn't have to be. Like there's so many coaches um supporting the idea of living through your pain and going through, reliving all your horrible things that happened to you in the past in order to clear them. And I just simply believe that if you've gone through it, you've suffered enough, why would you want to do it again just for the pleasure of it or to try to get rid of it? And yeah, it's some people believe that that's the only way. I choose to think that there is a different way, and that's how I live my life. And then one of the things that I've learned a lot is the by choice or by force, right? That's why I say it so much, because I feel that we get nudges from the universe when it's time to get moving. I think sometimes they give us a little break and it's like, hey, enjoy yourself for a little bit. But then it gets time to move again.
Right.
And then if we don't, like the universe will give us maybe the clues, maybe it's subtle at the beginning, and we're like pressing the snooze button and saying, oh, 5 more minutes here, we're having too much fun here. And then if we don't take the steps, the universe is just gonna push us over and say, well, you're not taking the step, well, we're gonna make you.
Right.
And then that's when it can become a lot more painful. But I've learned that before I get to that point, I make a move and I put myself in an uncomfortable position. And then I just go like, okay, let's see what's going to happen. And it's like, when I don't know if you do it now these days. I do it sometimes, but you know me, I'm weird. But when you used to go to the playground for the first time when you were little, and it was the first time you went down the slide, and especially the ones that are circular slides that go around,
Yeah.
that you don't know how long it's gonna go. Like when you throw yourself, you don't know what you're going to encounter.
No.
And I know it's just a slide, but when you're 3, it's a big deal, you know. But it's like,
never ending.
I know, it's like, is this ever gonna end? How fast does it go? Can I, like, even nowadays, like when I have Emerson like going down the slide, I'm like, is he gonna be able to like stop himself? Am I gonna be able, you know, it's like one of those things. Is like, how fast is he gonna go? Is he
Yeah.
gonna, am I pushing him to do something that I'm gonna scare the living daylights out of him? And it's just going down the slide, right? And it's getting the slide phobia for the rest of his life. Am I gonna traumatize him?
Slide
But
phobia.
when you're doing something, yeah, but when you're doing something that it's unknown,
right,
and you don't know what to expect, you know, how's it going to go? Is it going to be fun? Is it going to be not fun? Is it going to be fast? Is it going to be slow? Am I going to suffer? What is it? And you're throwing yourself into the unknown. It takes guts to do that willingly without having the universe push you off the cliff. Right? But then it's like, if you manage to do it before you get pushed, I feel in my experience that everything just begins to flow better, and I'm able to get myself in the flow easier because I am making the choice. The choice is not being made for me.
I like that.
Well said.
I called it spiritual breadcrumbs. I followed my spiritual breadcrumbs when I started this journey. And it was just like, when I found this, oh, what's over here? And I just kept allowing myself to be open to what was coming to me. But also I was doing a lot of healing during that time. And it just all came together in such a beautiful way, because I was in that allowance, that energy of allowance, where I'm okay. This is okay. And I know that I'm being guided to what it is that I'm, you know, where it is I'm supposed to be going.
Yeah.
So,
wow. Yeah, I was going to say, like, for the listeners, like what advice would you give them for like stepping into the Hotel California? And I'm like, I feel like they've already done that from the first episode that they listened to. They didn't know.
you didn't know you're here with us now. Welcome.
Welcome. But and it's like, don't be scared.
You're gonna scare them away.
I know. They're like, what?
Late, baby.
Yeah, it's too
They've
late.
already checked in.
No. It's a beautiful journey. It's a beautiful journey. And it is whatever you're going to get out of it, whatever you want to get out of it. Because if you're not wanting to heal stuff, sometimes the universe is going to say, that's fine, that's okay. And you can just stay comfy on whatever floor you decide to stay on. But if you want to keep moving, you know, sometimes you have to just keep moving through some things that might not feel the best. But as you keep going up, they really start to not bother you as much. And you really feel that lesson, and you integrate what it is that you need to know to move forward. So,
wow.
Yeah, the rewards keep coming.
Yeah.
And we're on our way to the penthouse anyway.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Totally.
We'll have the champagne ready for you guys. And
that's right.
Oh, wow. That's great. Okay. Do you have a quote for us, Stacia, for Hotel California?
I happen to have a quote for this, which
I
I think is amazing. You know, I have this funny story about my ancestry, and I'm very much Irish, which I knew I was partially Irish, but I was a lot more Irish than I expected. And I got this email saying there's been a change. And they put up all these beautiful pictures of geographs I've never seen in my life. And it turns out I'm more Irish somehow than I was originally. And then I got another email with another change in Ireland. I'm like, what is up with all the Irish? So I found this Irish gentleman for a quote today.
I
And
love that.
his name is W.B. Yeats, William Butler Yeats. He was born in 1865 in Ireland, and he said, "The world is full of magic things, patiently waiting for our senses to grow sharper."
Oh, I got goosebumps with that one.
Right?
Oh, I love that. And I
Right.
love-
Yeah. I was like, I love you. He's probably my cousin.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Just claim him as
true.
your relative now. He's so insightful.
Blame him. Yeah, it's I was speaking to somebody the other day about how we're going with blinders, right? We have our reticular activating system. That's the filter through which we see life. That is programmed by generations, that by our education, by our society, even by the, the block we live in and the people that we surround ourselves with. That's why we said we're picking the right people, right? We pick your five. Oh, we should have an episode on pick your five, by the way.
Writing that down.
And we're just looking at life through this filter, and we attach ourselves to what we think is right and good so much that we are not able to see other things that may not, because we want to be right always, right? And what we were trained or educated as, this is the good thing to be, this is the good thing to do, this is how you act, this is what you see, this is right, this is wrong. And sometimes there are other things outside of that scope that are wonderful, but we're not able to see them. And this quote is just fantastic, because as we grow into it, as we, just see yourself going up the floors. Well, when you get to the top floor, you're going to get a beautiful view, a lot better than where you're in the lobby, right? Walking in at street level. And it's the same way with this journey.
Yes.
Oh, I love that. What a wonderful way
Yes.
to close this episode. Thank you, Stacia. Thank you, Hannah. That was beautiful. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Let us know what you think in the comments. If you're listening, watching on YouTube, please subscribe. And if you're on Spotify, please rate and review us, share so more people can follow us. And yeah, we have a fun activity episode coming up soon for you guys that we think you're going to like. So stay tuned and watch for that. Thank you all for being here, and we'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to The Ripple Effect by The Alliance with Hannah Martinez,
Stacia Stove,
and Sarah Jane Lita. We hope you're now vibing high and ready to create your own ripple.
Drop a comment or email to let us know the ripple effect that you are creating.
Music by our very own Hannah Martinez, and music production by Onel Moulet.
Follow us on Instagram at The Ripple Effect Pod for more high vibration content. Please rate and review us wherever you listen. Until next time.